What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck here again. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As you guys can see, the title of the video, the alleged assassin that shot Charlie Kirk appeared in court today. The indictment has been released to the public, so we're going to go over that, plus some text messages between um, Tyler Robinson, who's the alleged killer, and the roommate. And based on the indictment that I read, that's posted and available, I have some questions about how this weapon got to the rooftop of the building. So I did pull up some information on the Mauser um, bolt action rifle itself, just so I can cover the bases on the information here. So make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe to the Lady Luck Club, and consider becoming a member. Also, at the end, I will um, describe some of the products that are tagged due to our partnership with Dr. Squatch for you guys to support the channel as well. So let's get to it. I want to start off with, of course, the a video of the news reporting his appearance in court today. This is a quick video from WFAA. So we're going to get to this and then we'll get to the indictment right after.
Charlie Kirk, suspected killer, just made his first appearance in court.
Tyler Robinson is charged with allegedly pulling the trigger and killing the conservative activist.
Morgan Young has been tracking developments from our newsroom. Morgan, what have you learned?
Well, Chris, these are the documents that Utah County released this afternoon, laying out some of the evidence they've been reviewing since last Wednesday and the 7 charges formally announced today against 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Just a few hours ago, Robinson, like you said, made his first court appearance. He appeared via web camera, which local officials say is normal for a first appearance in this court. Robinson didn't appear to be visibly emotional and was wearing some sort of tactical vest, you can see there. He only spoke once at the very beginning of the hearing to say his name. The purpose of today's hearing was to read him the charges he faces and confirm that he has the right to an attorney. And I do want to walk through those charges here briefly. Robinson faces an aggravated murder charge, which is a capital offense, a felony charge for discharging a firearm, 2 obstruction of justice charges for getting rid of the clothes he was wearing and concealing the rifle he is accused of using in this attack. He also faces 2 witness tampering charges for allegedly telling his roommate to delete text messages between them and to not speak with authorities. And lastly, commission of a violence offense in the presence of a child.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate.
The state will seek the death penalty in this case. Robinson will remain in custody without bail. His next hearing is scheduled for September 29th at 11 a.m. our time, and he is expected to have an attorney by that time and will again appear virtually.
State of Utah versus
Charlie Kirk.
I wanted to make sure I just kind of went over the news report on that. He has definitely got some stacked up charges, and the one that definitely stands out even the more is the fact that this was carried out in front of minor children. I do believe that if I remember correctly, his spouse being there with with their 2 children, and it just kind of adds another layer of this case that it's becoming even more egregious. And it's, this is not the way to go. So I have this article I researched on because I said in a previous video where I covered this that I'm sure they were going to go for the death penalty, which is exactly what they intend on doing. So when it comes to, these types of these types of incidents, I don't care about the politics of it. It's a matter of the facts of the case itself, and just the fact that someone was executed on national television in front of their children. So that alone is just, heinous and pure evil. And the one thing I keep asking is, what was the true motive behind this? Because it's hard to believe that this 22-year-old, who seems to be a trained, skilled sharpshooter, marksman, just decided, I don't like what he's saying, so I'm just going to take him out. I mean, it has to be more to it than that. But I'm not big on conspiracy theories, so I just kind of leave it at that and then let the evidence come out and speak for itself. So this article is basically going over the law in Utah. That is where of course, the crime was committed. And this is from Deseret.com. I'll have the link to the article in the description of the video, along with all of the other resources that is going to be covered in this video. So, as you can see here, and I'm not going to read the whole article, but some of the key points they highlighted. As I predicted, the prosecutors intend to pursue the death penalty against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. Lethal injection is the primary method of execution in Utah, but firing squad is a legal alternative. That's interesting. Utah has executed 8 men since the U.S. reinstated capital punishment in 1976. Prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty in the case against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk here. And he, of course, his name is Tyler James Robinson. He was 22 years old. And I just, I'm baffled as to, it has to be something else deeper that would just motivate someone to do that, knowing that this could be the end result, especially considering who Charlie Kirk was. Um, and the same date that this happened was the same day that the shooting in the Colorado, at a school in Colorado, occurred. It's just getting to the point where it's so much madness happening here. You know, what is it going to take for us as human beings to just kind of take a step back with this? This is not the way to go. So they're going to be, and when it comes to that, you taking out people because you don't like what they're saying in the most gruesome way on national television, it's just horrendous. And that the kids there, all the people that witnessed it, you know, hopefully you guys go out and talk to counselors, because you never know how traumatizing that can be, until something triggers that. And that's just not something you expect to see. So you guys can read over this article here. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that what Utah is, the options for the death penalty. So that's the lethal injection and the firing squad, as an alternative method here. And so let's get to the actual affidavit with the charges. So the affidavit that was filed to the courts today, um, or that was released and is going to be attached when they forward charges over to the court. This is what this looks like. This information here is affidavit of probable cause. So they established the probable cause based on the investigation, the evidence, and the facts that they had at the time before this was drafted up. And this kind of just gets the ball rolling in the courts. So as you can see here, they have State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. They have the offenses here: aggravated murder, and then you see the state statutes and severity of the charge itself. You have felony discharge of firearm causing serious bodily injury and obstruction of justice, capital first degree felony conduct. So the additional charges that were mentioned in the news conference video regarding the act being carried out in front of a minor. These charges could be, of course, added on. The evidence that they gather, they can, add the charges to the case. This is just the affidavit that was initially done, but I do expect it to be amended to include the other additional charges that were outlined in the news reporting video. So I'm not going to read all of the information here. I'll include the link to this document in the description of the video, but I'm just going to kind of go over some of the information. So it gives the background facts. On September 25, Kirk was at the UVU campus for a political event. He's a conservative political activist. Was scheduled to speak at the event in the courtyard area of the campus. The courtyard area is west of the Lucy building. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. So I'll just say LC, just to keep it easier. So according to video recordings, um, Charles was wearing a white T-shirt, dark pants, sitting under a white canopy in the courtyard. The event was attended by hundreds of individuals. Charles was surrounded by people with multiple individuals to his left, right, rear, and front of the canopy. Behind the canopy was a walkway used to access various parts of the university, and of course, there were minor children up there. So Charles was holding a microphone, speaking to the crowd while speaking into the microphone. A loud gunshot was heard at approximately 12:23 hours. He had appeared to be hit in the neck. Blood was seen coming out of the left side of his neck. He fell over. In my previous video, I showed the anatomy based on the entry point of the blood vessels that more than likely were severed. But once the autopsy is completed, the report itself is completed, it's going to go into detail exactly which arteries and blood vessels. I'm assuming the internal jugular and the left common carotid were hit for that type of blood loss to occur so rapidly. The Okay, so they transported him to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. He was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Investigators review UVU surveillance cameras, which they have plenty of around the campus, including drones. So, while reviewing the cameras, they observed an individual on the rooftop of the LC building on the UVU campus. The unidentified individual will be referred to as suspect. Based on the camera footage, suspect appears to be a white male, dark colored hair, wearing a colored hat, sunglasses, a long sleeve black shirt with a picture of an American flag and an eagle printed on the shirt, dark colored jeans, and white/gray shoes with the white colored shoelaces that appears to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse style shoes. Suspect was carrying a dark colored backpack on his back. They describe his um, gait being distinctive. He appears to walk with a stiff right leg and at a relatively slow pace. Suspect's ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. What I don't see here so far is exactly when does the weapon show up itself. And I'm gonna go towards the end over the actual weapon. Just some information I saw online from my Google search, but I don't see where it comes into view here. I'm curious, like, was the weapon placed there previously, or if it's the type of weapon that can kind of be broken down into parts and he can just fit it in his backpack, because the backpack itself was not that big. So, either they did not include that information because the cameras didn't pick it up, which would be another question in and of itself, considering the number of cameras that they do have, especially around that area of the courtyard. So I would find it very hard to believe that He gets up to the rooftop. They describe the dark colored backpack, but yet not describe exactly when does the actual rifle come into view. So I don't know if we're left to assume that he had it broken down in his backpack or if it was already there on the rooftop. And if that be the case, where the camera footage is to show someone putting a rifle up on the rooftop prior to the event, because the cameras would have picked all of that up. So it's just a bit jarring to me, and I hope they go back and amend this and they add in that detail so that it's clear that it either came out of his backpack or it was already there on the rooftop, and he just went up there and assembled it. So they have here prior to the shooting, suspect appears to walk with a stiff right leg, slow pace. Let's see. At approximately 11:50, UVU surveillance camera first captured suspect walking across a grassy area. Suspect walked south through the parking lot and approached a pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath campus drive. Before entering the tunnel, he paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket using his right hand. He eventually put what appeared to be a cell phone back in his right pants pocket using his right hand. Surveillance captured him making his way toward the LC. Suspect was recorded walking on the north side of the LC with the same gait as observed earlier. He entered the LC building through a set of doors. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of skimming over this. You guys can, read in detail. Um, Suspect was observed walking up the center building, was observed walking up the stairs that lead to the common area adjacent to the LC building. He walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the building. So at this point, you know, I would think, one would think that they would reiterate if the weapon was possibly in the backpack or what exactly was in the backpack. I mean, I just, to me, it's just, it just seems like it's something missing here. Suspect climbed over the short wall, crouched down on the north side of the rooftop. Suspect stood up, started running across the rooftop of the LC building. The notable limp from previous surveillance was absent. So, okay, was he faking the limp, or was he? I that's kind of confusing. And if he were doing that, then the question would be: was he doing it deliberately to throw them off the trail? But if you have a limp and you walk, normally with some sort of a limp or issues, like you're displaying issues with your knee or leg, that's something that you're not going to be able to just turn off. Your gait is like your posture. So that's not something you can just immediately cut off, especially, if there's something prohibiting you from having, a normal gait. That's basically kind of like your stance and your posture, especially when you're walking. It says here, so that for that to be absent, it's just mind-boggling. So, suspect ran to the west side of the rooftop, appeared to scoot along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge. Suspect laid down in a position consistent with a prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop and appeared to be facing west in the direction of courtyard. The LC building overlooks the courtyard area where the event was taking place. The LC building is east of the courtyard area. At approximately 12:23 hours, Charlie Kirk was shot. At approximately 12:23 hours, surveillance shows the suspect stood up, suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted north of the rooftop. I ran to the northeast corner of the LC building, approached the edge of the rooftop. Suspect placed a dark colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself off of the rooftop. So indicate that the dark color item, more than likely just being the weapon, because they do not state it was his backpack, was actually placed on the rooftop. And of course, when he left, he wasn't carrying anything. So he dropped off the rooftop onto the grass, ran north near the parking lot to the east of the LC, ran north across the Campus Drive Road. So they giving you each step that he made um, as they go along, but they're not saying how the weapon got on the rooftop, other than, you know, it seems like he just kind of scrunched down out of view of one camera. And then next thing you know, he's scooting along the edge of the rooftop with the weapon. And then, of course, he had to be some sort of trained marksman or sniper because, it's not, if you've never used a weapon before, it's not a shot you'll be able to make on the first time. So obviously, he had a lot of training with using that weapon to shoot over 200 yards away from where the event was. And Charlie Kirk, mind you, was sitting down in the chair. He wasn't even standing up. So for that shot to be taken with him sitting down is more proof that this man was trained. Tyler Robinson was trained to do this. He definitely had experience with that type of weapon. The LC is east of the courtyard. I want to make sure I get all the information in. He placed a dark colored item on the rooftop, proceeded to lower himself off. He dropped off the rooftop onto the grass, ran across the Campus Drive Road. He appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. So there has to be more than one camera that could have picked it up from a different angle. Because I do know they have drones and they have plenty of cameras on campus. So I find that very odd that there's something he's carrying. I mean, wouldn't that be his backpack? But you guys let me know what you think in the comments section. The area of the north of Campus Drive Road where suspect crossed over consists of a grassy area and trees on the edge of the campus. Investigators discovered a bolt action rifle wrapped in a dark colored towel. So this is after he shot Charlie Kirk. But what about the weapon before he shot Charlie Kirk? Where was that weapon? Was it in his backpack? Was it already on the roof? Did he place it there himself? Did someone else do it? These are questions that I'm going to be honest, I should not be asking if I'm reading this affidavit. And somehow it just seems like there's some gaps. I'm not conspiratorial. I'm just thinking rational about each step that he made and each action that he, took. Surely you can, notate when he exactly pulled out the rifle. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser model 98.30-06 caliber bolt action rifle. So I did Google that weapon, and I'm just going to pull it up shortly. Rifle had a scope mounted on the top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulge, BULDGE, OWO Westes." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, catch." And then they have up arrow symbol, right arrow, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow." A third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are," and this word here, laugh, element, LMAO. I don't want to say that the word. I mean, I don't want to fight with YouTube about my video. So, but you guys can see the information here. They discovered a shoe impression that was on the northeast corner rooftop edge. The shoe impression was located in the vicinity where suspect climbed down the rooftop. The shoe impression is consistent with the shoe sole characteristics of a Converse Chuck Taylor shoe. On the evening of 9/11, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend. They contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office um, with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he committed the incident. And there's some text messages I'm going to show as well. Now, this info was relayed to Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at UVU, as well as the FBI. So, the additional video footage showed him arriving on the UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on 9/12, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. So he changed his clothes and then put back on the clothes he had on September 10th. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated Robinson had become more political. Family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to 9/10, and in conversation with another family member, mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. Family member also stated Kirk was full of hate, spreading hate. Family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. The investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed the roommate, stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, and then they're saying who stated his roommate. So this is describing another man. Okay, I want to make sure I had that right. Referring to Robinson made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler. So they're just establishing that, Tyler was confirmed to be the one that the roommate was contacting and messaging. Tyler stated a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush. I mean, these type of technical terms like this, was he in the military? Somebody had to train him on using this type of weapon from over 200 yards away. Um, Messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also referred to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. So, messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Why did he do that? The actions he's taking here just seems to be kind of off base, and it just raises more questions than anything else. These are some bizarre things that he did. I mean, having a distinctive gait, and then next thing you know, he doesn't have the gait anymore. It makes you question whether or not he acted alone. Because once again, was the weapon in his bag or was it already on the roof? And why is that not being picked up in the camera? So that's just my thoughts on that. You guys let me know if maybe there's some information that I've missed. Please make sure you comment below and let me know where to go to find the video surveillance camera footage. Perhaps it's already been mentioned, but why would it not be here in this affidavit? I don't know. So, based on the evidence detailed in the statement, I believe there is probable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes of aggravated murder by shooting Charlie Kirk in a circumstance that put many around him at grave risk of death felony discharge of a firearm and obstruction of justice for moving and hiding the rifle believed to be used in the shooting. So as they gather more evidence, they're going to add on more charges. They've already added it on two, I think, since this was drafted. And this was entered on 9/12. So that's 5 days ago. So the next information here, this is on Yahoo from HuffPost, are the text messages between this is Tyler Robinson and the roommate. So I'm just gonna read the messages here. The exchange that occurred. Robinson stated, "I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." How would you keep that secret with all of this advanced technology? You got cameras everywhere. They have drones. How was this going to stay a secret? This is, to me, it just screams, you know, at least two people are involved in this for him to think that he was just going to get away with it with all of these cameras around. And plus, he didn't think about possibly being spotted, not even a little bit. It makes no sense. So the things that he did, his actions was just it's just bizarre. And then the roommate asks, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And then he said, "I am. I'm sorry." And then roommate said, "Why?" Robinson said, "Why did I do it?" Roommate said, "Yeah." Robinson stated, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." What does that mean? Can't be negotiated out? Did he ever try to talk to Charlie Kirk? Maybe he tried to contact Charlie Kirk and I don't know. Has that been even asked of him? If they had any prior, encounters or anything? He also stated, "If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence." That would be impossible because, this is not a small gun we're talking about. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Didn't he leave it on the roof? This is crazy. The roommate stated, "How long have you been planning this?" And he stated, "A bit over a week, I believe." Either you've been planning for a week or you didn't. This is very bizarre. This is very bizarre. I just don't. There has to be someone that's involved because this is really bizarre for him to admit this so easily, think that he was going to get away with it, and then thinking that they're not going to find it, and hoping he'll be able to go back and get it. This is insane. He stated, "I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Then Robinson states, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle." I I don't know if I'm just gonna assume that's I don't know. I don't even know. Oh God. I'm sorry, I'm not good with these little acronyms and stuff everybody uses on social media. But I don't even know is what I'm assuming that to be. If it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I mean, this can't be real. So he literally would let his grandfather or his father take the downfall for this, seeing that this is not going to trace back to him. This is insane. This is what I mean by, the decisions he's making here in his thought process. It just seems off. It seems just completely off. Yeah, if he loved his grandpa, why would he even use that weapon? And even if it had a serial number, he's saying it wouldn't even trace back to me. Okay, but it would trace back to someone you love. Are you kidding? I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Why? Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. So those are all the text messages that was exchanged between Robinson and the roommate. And the last bit here is just some information on the weapon itself. Mauser M98 is a bolt action rifle. I'm not, a weapons connoisseur, but you guys can see what the bolt action is. It's a type of manual firearm action that is operated by directly manipulating the turn bolt via a bolt handle, most commonly placed on the right hand side of the firearm. So this dude obviously had a lot of training with this weapon. This was uh, first introduced by, I guess, during World War II. And it's not a small gun. So I just did a quick Google search. This is what it came up with because I had to see what this looks like. So it looks like it could be dismantled somehow off of the handle. And if that's how he transported it, then that would explain him being able to fit it in his backpack because the backpack was not that big. But he also had a scope. If this is, able to be broken down into at least two parts, then he would have had to have two parts of that weapon plus a scope and bullets and all of that in a backpack. So that's all the information I have here. I just wanted to kind of go over this and read over the actual indictment. You guys can always check the description of the video for the resources that I utilized into this video here. Please make sure you check out the description as well for the Dr. Squatch products we're partnered with here in the Lady Luck Club. They have, variety of soap, deodorant, toiletries for your young men to feel clean and smell good in the process. So purchase the products that is tagged, and the Lady Luck Club receives a commission on the sales, and it goes back towards the channel. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and this has been a whole lot happening at one time, but we've got to get it together as humanity. But until the next one, you guys take care of yourselves and each other. Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.